Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, family and friends. Well, the election is over. So we have either the next 4 years or, I don't know, until he decides he doesn't want to be in office anymore forever. Who knows? But I am not going to use Lord Voldemort's name except when I'm talking about his supporters. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you a warning. I don't know if this video is going to be long because I got a lot of things on my mind. But I am going to say ahead of time, ladies, no offense. Some of you are going to think what I'm about to say is sexist. Some of you may even say misogynistic. But I have to tell you, from my perspective, it's just realistic. Okay? Now, what I'm going to talk about today is cause and effect. Okay? I'm going to give you the cause and effect of why this election didn't go the way a lot of people wanted it to go. Okay? Or at least my perspective on cause and effect. All right? Miss Ayala, if any of you are familiar with her or you can look her up, very, very famous, very, very popular social relationship lady. She talks about a lot of things. But she said it best, okay? She said that as a woman, your job is to motivate your man to move the way you need him to move. All that, yeah, it's not going to get you anywhere, okay? I'll try to find the clip and I'll share it again on my feed. I'll try to do that later on today, okay? Anyway, cause and effect. Now, I could tell you that Hillary Clinton had more support or more voters from Black, Hispanic, and Latino men than Kamala Harris. I could give you the numbers. I could tell you how many Biden had. But if Hillary, a white woman, got more vote from the Black and Hispanic Latino men, what does that tell you? How could that be? Why would that be possible? It's cause and effect. Okay? But do those numbers even matter? I mean, I could give them to you, but I don't think they really matter. Let me tell you what the cause and effect is. Okay? Over the last few years, or however long, it's been an ongoing theme. Strong and independent woman. Kamala Harris is a prosecutor. Don't need a man. Men or ninjas, I'll say ninjas, men ain't crap. So when you needed men to turn out, they didn't, because you don't need them. You're strong and independent. Didn't matter how many Taylor Swift, how many Beyonce, didn't matter all the record turnout for voter registration. You lost a chunk of your, normally very reliable chunk of voters. Now, I'm not saying that they voted for Voldemort, because that's not what happened. He actually got less voters. He actually got less voters this election from the general populist election, because some of those Republicans defected and they either stayed home or they voted for Harris. Now, I don't want this to come off as I'm just blaming women for this, like Jill Stein voters or whatever, but this is twice where there has been a female candidate that was better. They were. Hillary was better. She spent more years in the White House than anybody. She knew how to do the job. Harris was a prosecutor. This guy, he's been in politics. He spent 4 years, got lucky, spent 4 years in the White House, and he really doesn't. Anyway, we're going to get past that. The point is, the men didn't show up. And I'm telling you why the men didn't show up. Now, for those of you that do or do not know, I told you this the very week that Biden dropped out. If you look at my old video, I already predicted this. When Biden dropped out and Harris became the nominee, I said, you're going to have a problem with men voters because of all what I just said. Strong, independent, don't need a man. I said it was going to be a problem. And lo and behold, it was. One of my favorite things to do is to say, I told you so. But this, I get no joy. I get no joy in saying I told you so when it comes to this subject. Okay? You have to understand, I'm a black man in America, in Texas, in one of the reddest states. I've been called the N-word at dinner tables. Okay? I'm used to this. Okay? There's the next 4 years, I'm used to this struggle. It's not going to really make much difference to me. I was in this because I have daughters, and I'm worried about their future. And if the Harris campaign had thought of it like that and said, you know what? I never told anybody who to vote for. I tried to give you reasons to say, this guy is bad for X, Y, Z. He's a bad guy. But if the women had motivated the men in their life and said, hey, son, brother, cousin, uncle, I need you. I need you to protect me from this guy. That would have made I think it would have made all the difference in the world. Can I see the future? Can I go back in time and say that's definitely what happened? No, I can't. But I can tell you what they did not work. I'm Gen X, okay? And I grew up with that F around and find out. And I think women effed around and found out. All that rhetoric, and I'm telling you, and I said it in 2 of my videos, man, like, this problem between men and women, it's a problem. And it's only gonna get worse in the future. If you don't think you need a man, this is a man's world. And more importantly, it's a white man's world. And if you don't have the covering or the protection or the help of your men, Black, Hispanic, Latino, minority women, you're in trouble. It's not going to get better for you. It's only going to get worse. And I hope and pray that, if you listen or pay attention to what I'm trying to tell you, that it sinks in. Okay? Like I said, I voted for Harris. I don't mind saying that because I knew that she would be better for my daughters in the future. And the person that won was not going to be good for my daughters in the future. And I think if that had been the stance that was taken, if that had been the goal, hey, women say all the time, men are like dogs. Well, in some cases, you're right. Men are very simple, okay? Just like a dog. You pat him on the head, you give him a treat, you tell him he's a good boy. What's he going to do? He's going to wag his tail, and he's going to be happy every time he sees you. Same with men. You pat him on the head, you give him a treat, you tell him he's a good boy, tell him that you need him. And that guy will walk through the fire and take a bullet for you. But that's not what's happening. It's too much competition between men and women instead of cooperation between men and women. 50-50. Guys don't open doors for you. They don't pull out chairs for you. How do you think that started? Where do you think that came from? Chivalry is dead. And it wasn't men that killed it. Okay? I'm just saying. Now again, I don't want to offend, and I know this is probably going to ruffle some feathers, and I'm sorry for it, but it is what it is. And I can shout to the mountaintops and tell you how many times I can say I told you so, or I can tell you that's not going to help. That's not going to help going forward. So How do we fix this? How do we get past this? How do we come back from this? There ain't no telling what all kind of stuff is going to be changed, what all kind of laws this guy's going to pass. But I can tell you this, it's not going to be good for women. It's not going to be good for minorities. The next video I do, I mean, I'll bring people on camera if they want to come on, and we can actually talk, debate, whatever, but I'm really not in the mood for it. I'm going to tell you, if you think I'm just talking trash, I live a few blocks away from Stop 6. I'm in these streets. And when I'm talking to young men, this is what they're saying. Oh, we're not voting for a woman. Is that sexist? Yes. They don't need us. They're strong and independent. They can do it on their own. Now, I wear collared shirts. My ghetto hood card expired probably 30 years ago. I don't go running and ripping in the streets and banging. I don't do any of that stuff. I got kids. I'm grown. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. But I do talk. I am an OG. I can go and talk to these cats, and I know why they didn't go and vote. They didn't vote for the other guy. They just stayed home. Just do the math. If the same people... Voldemort got less popular vote this year than he did when he ran against Hillary. He got less by 1 million votes. If the same people that showed up that voted for Biden, the math is mathing. There was no way he could have won. But that's not what happened. Less people showed up. And it was that voter block of black men, Hispanic and Latino men. And if there's any hope for the future, ladies, you're going to have to, I can't tell you how to fix it. They don't want to hear from me. They want to hear from you. They want to hear from you that you need them and that they're important. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I mean, I'm okay. I'll be fine. I'll make sure my kids are fine. But I can't help you if you don't help yourself. Anyway, that's my video. And thank you. Sorry the election didn't turn out, but hopefully you guys can have a better weekend.